of the last jobs I had in Yellowstone was delivering the mail on snowmobile. There I was in the world's first national park, and I remember going down into Hayden Valley. There were bison crossing over the road, 2,000-pound mammals crossing over the road, and it was so cold, it was about 60 below zero. And the bison, as they breathed, their exhalation would seem to crystallize in the air around them, and there were these sheets, these ropey strands of crystals kind of flowing down from their breath. And I saw them, they just moved their heads and were looking at me, and I remember thinking that if I had not been on that machine, I would have thought I had been thrust fully back into the Pleistocene, back into the Ice Age. And I remember just stopping and turning it off, because the only way you could hear is to turn that thing off. And I would turn it off and I would listen, and I felt like this was the first day. And this morning was the first time the sun had ever come up. And the shadows that are being cast right now is the first time those shadows have ever been cast on the earth. And I was all alone, but I felt I was in the presence of everything around me, and I was never alone. It was one of those moments when you get pulled outside of yourself into the environment around you. And I felt like I was just with the breath of the bison as they were exhaling, and as I was exhaling and they were inhaling, it was all kind of flowing together. And I forgot completely about the male. All I was thinking of was that a single moment in a place as wild as Yellowstone, or most of the national parks, can last forever.
Welcome. This is ArtHouse Radio. I'm Troy. I was thinking it might be interesting to talk with people who are maybe over the age of 60 and ask them about their life and what they think was fulfilling and what maybe didn't meet their expectations, or, you know, did they, if you think of life as like a painting, does the final result sort of match what they envisioned for themselves? And the reason that I ask that is because I'm currently in Grand Canyon. That's where I'm shooting this from. And this is my second or third national park. I'm not sure about the first one. Like, I've heard that the dunes in northern Indiana and Warren Dunes in Michigan are part of a national park. So I don't know whether this is my second or third experience, but it's very few, obviously. And I just, coming here, started thinking, you know, I don't know if I was meant to do this, or let me see if I can put it a different way. The life I had prior to this didn't involve nature. I mean, nature is everywhere, right? I mean, even plastic's nature. I mean, we make it, it comes from nature. Whatever we're doing is natural because it's what we're doing. But when we say nature, we mean the Grand Canyon, or a park, or a picnic, or, you know, hiking trails, whatever it is. Those are a very huge part of what my life was about. And so I just wonder if either I'm changing, or am I doing something that I was always meant to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we called to do, and what, not what we're called to do, but like, what is whatever we do in life what we're supposed to be doing? Or do sometimes we go down roads where we think that's not good for us, or this is good for us, and then so we'll make those changes accordingly. I'll give you an example. So, oh my God, there are people down there on that rock. That's crazy. They're so far. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get this down here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Jesus Christ, those people are crazy. Anyway, so my experience was, sorry, if you're listening to this, there were some people pretty far out on a weird rock. I'm sure there must be people who pass on here. I mean, you can go right up to the edge for miles and miles, it looks like. I went to the Badlands that was my first national park, let's just say, over the summer in South Dakota. And the night before I went there, they were playing Ken Burns' PBS of National Parks. In the beginning of it, they were playing a clip of it, and it was in the middle of winter, and this park ranger was talking about his being like 40 below, and he was seeing bison covered in snow. All of Yellowstone was covered in snow, and he was talking about how he felt like he was back in time, watching the beginnings of Earth or something like 60 million years ago. And it was so inspiring. And I'll play that clip for you if I can find it at the end of this. But since that being my first national park experience, I started to think like, wait a minute, what if Act 2 here of my life, whatever Act 1, people are like, Troy, I think it's Act 3, whatever it is it going to be that different from the previous acts, the previous moments? Do we really change that much? That's what I'm getting at. I don't know. Maybe I'm just the same person that's going through different experiences now. And it's hard to think of, things being that different in a lot of ways. But it just makes me think about how much we change around the things that are already around us. Like, for example, I used to work at the Portland Art Museum. Shout out to the Portland Art Museum. And when I first started working there, I would see paintings that I liked or I didn't like or whatever. And turn around here. And over time, what would happen is my opinion of them changed. Now, the paintings weren't changing. I was changing around them. But I just start to think of their objects, right? They're made of materials that came from Earth. Well, what about the Grand Canyon? What about the Badlands? What about Yellowstone? Are they conscious? Are they aware of what's happening? Are they aware of themselves? Or is it just all the little things that exist within them, the plants and the squirrels and the trees and the birds and the whatever, the dirt? Is that alive? And then there's no collective one thing that they are together, but just all these individual things. And so I guess we're changing around it ourselves, aren't we? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to think about the difference between me being here right now and what this experience will be in my mind once I leave here. I'm going to be very careful here because I'm going to the edge. See if we can. See, she's kind of making that about herself, isn't she? In a way. Or is she just making it about like she's trying to connect with this thing? I don't understand. We're very strange humans, aren't we? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember the question I was asking before I went off in the little side thing. Boy, it really is steep. Yeah, I don't know. These are the things that just hit me. I figured I would turn on the camera. I realize I don't want this to be selfish. I realize this isn't the first video from the Grand Canyon. I'm not special, and it won't be the last. But I did have these thoughts about the things that are in our life and they surround us or we surround them. And, you use an object, but it's both ways, right? So like people come here to see the Grand Canyon, but the Grand Canyon is looking at you, is what I'm trying to say. Like you use a phone and you think that you just use the phone and that, you're just using it. No, it's using you too. All right. It's a give and take. It's a two-way street. So that's where I'm going to leave it today from the Grand Canyon on the Roadkill Project, ArtHouse.radio and Spaces with Light on Instagram. If you want to be a Patreon member, patreon.com/ArtHouseRadio from the beautiful Grand Canyon in Arizona. What a trip. I hope something came out of this. I think something did, but I mean afterwards, once I have had time to absorb and digest everything. And you know what? If nothing happens, then nothing happens. that's the way life goes, right? Take care.